There are three ways you become great.
Number one
is to be born great.
Number two
is to achieve greatness. And the third one is to have greatness conferred on you. I want to share with you how you can be a success and how to chart your course of greatness. Because just because God has made you great doesn't mean you're going to realize it. Jesus was born great, achieved greatness, and also had greatness conferred on him. And all of his greatness he gave to me. I was born great in Christ Jesus. So greatness is in me. So the things that I do become great. Question is, do you want to realize it?
God says, commit to me what you plan to do, and your plans will succeed.
You've heard the saying, we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan. Every day you have to plan.
You need divine direction so that you can do the right things, hook up with the right people, not expend your energies in things that are not profitable. You don't necessarily need more resources, you need better direction. I cleave as a believer to that, acknowledge him in all that way, then he should direct that path, because frankly, many times it is not an issue of needing more money, I need more direction.
Do you want to walk in that vision that God has given you? Do you want to become God's dream, what he's dreamed of, how God sees you? The only reason to remain poor is by choice. Nothing can keep you poor if you choose not to be. You see, there are some people who are afraid in their lives.
Don't be afraid to fail.
They think they have no advantage in life. So they think, my dad was never rich. I never came from a wealthy home. I don't have any advantage. All I just want in life is if I can get a good job and just, fix myself and have enough for me and my family, I'll be fine. No, life is better than that. Life is bigger than you and your family. Go beyond the limits. Don't keep your life down there.
Don't confuse movement with progress. Remember, just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. Because you can run in place all the time and never get anywhere.
The Oscar goes to...
God is good. God is great. God is great. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you all.
Money is not evil. It could help somebody. It could feed the hungry. It could clothe the naked. It could help do a whole lot of things. Money is not evil. It's what you do with it that's evil. In fact, the Bible said money answereth all things. Money gives you options. It just simply gives you options. It gives you options. You have options. You can do more. The Bible said the love of money is the root of all evil. It can become an idol in your life. God blessed the children of Israel with the wealth of Egypt. It was them that turned it into an idol. When God starts blessing you, that's when the tempter comes against you. When God puts you in your Garden of Eden, positions you in the place that he has created for you. Do you know that God has created a garden for you to live in, a utopia of sustained blessing? And the closer you get to getting in the place that God has designed for you, the more the slithering serpent snake is going to confront you and try to talk you out of the place. New levels bring new devils. Hallelujah. Are you following what I'm saying?
You know, a lot of people talk about the Jews today and how that they are strangely successful. It's amazing. They're actually the most successful people in the earth today. That's a reality. They have the most finances, absolutely successful. I've spoken to some of them. They were very clear as to how they became like that. They talked about the things that God told them to do, which the Jews do. And they became wise financially. The truth of it.
Everything that I have is by the grace of God. Understand that. It's a gift. Put God first in everything you do. Put God first. I've been protected. I've been directed. I've been corrected. I've kept God in my life and it's kept me humble. I didn't always stick with him, but he always stuck with me. So stick with him in everything you do. If you think you want to do what you think I've done, then do what I've done. and stick with God.
The whole revelation that they have is this: everything that was promised them was given to us and much more. God gave to the church better promises than he gave to the Jews. And there are more Christians rising up today in that knowledge and understanding, discovering who they actually are. Which means if those of the old covenant have been as successful as they have been in this world, think how much more successful and influential those of the new covenant will be when they discover who they are. What the Jews discovered was just who they are. They even have this thought: I'm going to be successful because I'm a Jew. And what does the Bible say? He is not a Jew which is one outwardly, but he's a Jew which is one inwardly, in the spirit. Was he telling us that the nature to which God was pointing was not to the natural Jews, but the spiritual, referring to the church?
God says there's no limit. Exceeding is infinite to how much I reward you. God said there is no limit. Exceeding is an infinite word without ending. God said, I am thy exceeding great reward. There is no limit to what I'm going to give you. There is no stopping me from blessing you. You gave up something for me. Let me tell you, since you gave what was in your hand, let me show you what was in my hand. I am thy exceeding great reward. Oh, God, if you ever believe what I just said, it would forever change your life. If you stop putting limits and boundaries on what God could do. God said, I am your exceeding great reward. God blessed Abraham so much that Abraham died and couldn't use all of his blessings. His descendants are still spending out of that word exceeding. I could take you up to New York. I could take you around Hollywood. I could take you around CEOs in major facilities and show you Jewish descendants that are still spending out of that experience. I'm telling you, if you get the word I'm teaching down in your spirit, you will live and die and not spend up all the blessing that God's going to release upon you and upon your children and upon your children's children, saith the Lord.
Failure, there's no place for it in your life. Failure in life is not for you. I'll always be successful. I've been very successful in my life, and I will always be successful. I'm excellent. It's not possible for me to fail. I'm also great. It's in me. I carry it in me.
Get your Bibles, go to Genesis 14:12-24. We're studying this morning. We're not shouting, we're not hooping, we're not falling out, we're not screaming, we're studying.
And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thine hand.
This right here is great wisdom for people who are on their way up. Be careful who you let bless you. Abraham has won this battle with a bunch of servants. He took a bunch of servants and went out and fought a battle and won. You know you're anointed when you can take less and do more with it. Blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand. Hallelujah. You're going to get darts shot at you. When you start being successful, people are going to hate you because you got to be tough to be blessed. Can you stand to be blessed? Can you stand the level of attack you're going to come up under? Do you have the faith to trust God to cover your back?
Not everybody travels in the path that God has planned. Too many walk off course and journey in life in a course that was never chosen for them. And sometimes they even seem to achieve success. They even seem to achieve greatness in the world. But everything they ever achieve, they will lose because it was not God's part for them.
There are some blessings you ought to turn down. Faith doesn't just accept, faith rejects. It takes faith to say no.
That's why, even with everything they've got, if they happen to be worldly successful, they're never fulfilled because they're in the wrong path.
To some blessings that look like they're easy and they're quick, but they're not divine. To be discriminative in who you allow to be your resource. If it's not from God, you don't want it. Many people self-sabotage their own success. They don't even know that they're sabotaging their success because you've been surrounded by people who are enabling your poverty by their mentality, and their mentality has defined you and contaminated you. And even though you say you want to be blessed, you keep doing things to stop you from being blessed, like getting in debt, maxing out your credit cards, buying stuff that has no profit in it, because that cursed mentality has permeated your attitude to the degree that you are subconsciously taking your blessing and putting it in things that are going down rather than to invest it in things that are going up, because you don't have the courage to be controversial. You want everybody at the old barbershop to still be glad to see you when you come in. And so you keep falling back down to their level so that they will like you. And the first thing God told to somebody he was going to bless was fear not. Why did he say that? Because it takes courage to be blessed. Oh, you don't hear what I'm saying? People wearing mink coats and living in trailers. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the look of being blessed. I'm talking about the reality of being blessed, and to have your priorities in the right place and to be a balanced and a stable-minded person. It takes courage to do that.
Fail big. Fail big. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances. So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. So have dreams, but have goals. Life goals, yearly goals, monthly goals, daily goals. I try to give myself a goal every day. Have goals, and understand that to achieve these goals, you must apply discipline and consistency. In order to achieve your goals, you must apply discipline and consistency. You have to work at it every day. You have to plan. Hard work works. Working really hard is what successful people do.
What did I do with the year that just passed?
Remember, just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. Don't confuse movement with progress. So continue to strive, continue to have goals, continue to progress.
And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir. He that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir.
First of all, you can't have true success without a successor. You've got to start thinking generationally, or you're going to miss the point. God starts talking to Abraham about being his exceeding great reward. Abraham immediately starts talking about his son. See, one of the great things that Abraham had with God is that Abraham thought like God. He had a God mentality. He was thinking generationally. If you're going to be my exceeding great reward, let me bring up to you this issue I had with my child, because I've already lived half of my life and I'll never be able to spend to the bottom of the check you just wrote. I need an heir to catch. People, sit tight, because I think you have no idea who you are. I don't think you have a clue who you are. I don't think you understand that your mom and daddy are the cup, but baby, you're the saucer. And when we overflow, you're supposed to be there at home plate to catch the exceedingly abundantly above all that she may. The blessing that I don't have room to receive is supposed to fall on you. But young people, you have to position yourself. One of the curses that is killing our generation is that most of us start from ground level zero. We start out with nothing. All over again. Your parents started with nothing. They died and left you nothing. You go back to zero, have to start over again. That is a curse. The curse of not having anything left. Consequently, because nobody gave to you, you don't think generationally. So you're talking to a God about blessings. That if God ever takes you serious, he knows you're not going to live long enough to hold all the stuff he's going to give you. So if you don't start thinking generationally, the conversation is over. Until you get a passion for your children and to see the blessing of the Lord fall on your child, you're not ready to talk to God, because God said he got too much for you. You have to live in this moment, but think in the next one. Forward-thinking people are positioning themselves to be blessed because you're thinking in terms of what are the next few moves. Anywhere you use that principle, you will be blessed. I don't care how good you are in the moment. If you fail to have preparation for the next moment, you forfeit the blessing. Write the vision. Make it plain. Let him that read it run thereby. What is next? What is next? And who is worthy of it?
Don't just aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference.
So you find in Acts, the 7th chapter, and the book of Hebrews, when God said, I've heard the cry of the people, Moses revealed that I've surely heard the cry of my people in Egypt. So the first thing in life, when you want to begin your journey of greatness, until this starts, you will never begin, is to hear the cry of the needy. You've got to hear the cry. There are those who shut their ears. When there's a cry in the night, they don't care. That's the reason for their poverty and failure. You never journey in life in the path of greatness until first you learn to hear the cry of the needy, the cry of their pain, the cry of their sorrow, the cry of their poverty. When you learn that, things begin to change.
And change will become its servant.
And anything you want good, you can have. So claim it. Work hard to get it. When you get it, reach back. Pull someone else up. Each one, teach one.
So God says, number one, I will open up the channel between me and you. In other words, I will open the windows of heaven. Simply put, obedience opens up the heavens. Obedience opens up the heavens. You could be shouting in front of closed heavens, because it is not what you say that opens up the windows of heaven. It is what you do that opens up the windows of heaven. Consider Matthew 3:16, where Jesus was baptized. And the Bible says straightway when he came up out of the water, God opened up the heavens. And Stephen, who would not denounce the name of Christ, in Acts 7:54-56, the Bible said that as Stephen was being stoned and he kept his word before God, that the heavens opened up. Obedience opens up the windows of heaven. That's all you got to do to open up the windows of heaven, is just obey him. Obedience opens up the windows of heaven. If you ever get tired of shouting in front of closed windows, obedience will open it up. Number two, God says, I will dispense what I have withheld. In other words, I will pour you out a blessing. When I see you do what I told you to do, I will dispense what I withheld. Are you following what I'm saying? Anybody want what God is withholding? If you want to know what he's withholding, Jeremiah 29:11 says God has something in mind for you, that you might have an expected end, that God has already planned for you to win in the end. And God says, I can't dispense it until you obey me. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 6-12 says, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things that God has in store for them that love it. But when you read the whole 6-12, it even deals with and references the cross. Had the princes of this world known what they were doing, they would have never crucified the Lord. And it begins to talk about what God does when you obey his word. Even when people try to sabotage you, God will break the curse and turn it all around and release what is withheld in your life. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you?
Finally, say thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for parents. Thank you for love. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for humility. Thank you for peace. Thank you for prosperity. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours. It's how I live my life. Say thank you in advance for what is already yours. True desire in the heart for anything good is God's proof to you, sent beforehand to indicate that it's yours already.
Thank God for that one.
I'll say it again. True desire in the heart, that itch that you have, whatever it is you want to do, that desire, that itch, that's God's proof to you.
No, this is good.
Sent beforehand already to indicate that it's yours.
Do you understand the cross was an offering? Read Hebrews 9:14, read Hebrews 9:28, read Hebrews 10:12, read Hebrews 11:17. All tell you that the cross was an offering. That's why the grave couldn't hold it. I said the cross was an offering. That's why the grave couldn't hold it. It may hold you 3 days, but it can't hold you any longer than that. It's going to have to give it back. There's going to be a resurrection breaking forth in your life off you. Some of you have had everything resurrected but your money. You got your peace, you got your joy, you got your salvation, you got your praise. And for you, the last step is your finances. But if you'll get this word, the same God that resurrected your life and brought you and turned you around and resurrected your mind will resurrect your money. I believe God for resurrection in your financial life in the name of the Lord. Not so you can ride around in a golden Porsche and drink Kool-Aid out of a goblet, but so that you can send your kids to college, so that you can loan and not borrow, so that you can be the head and not the tail, so that we can finally get our act together until the kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of our God. Away with this foolishness that the only people who are blessed in our community is the pimps and the drug dealers. The devil is a lie. You're not going to tell me that Satan is better to his followers than God is to his. God said, I swear I'll bless you. I'll bless you on a dime.
So never give up. It's not easy. Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. It's not easy. Keep working. Keep striving. Never give up. Fall down 7 times. Get up 8. Don't be afraid to fail. Ease is a greater threat to progress than hardship. See you at work.
In Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, God's first command to all of humanity, be fruitful and multiply.
Lay your hand on your neighbor and say, God is holding something that he wants to release in your life this year.